Good morning, Munising. Casey Ford live inside the Jamadot Studios inside Gallery Coffee Company for Coffee with Casey on AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO, SoundCloud, Spotify, our Rome Media Facebook page, and on YouTube. Super excited for the show today because couple of reasons. Mattson will be joining us live. Munising has a big playoff game tonight as they take on Rudyard. They saw them earlier this season. We'll talk about what has changed. We'll talk about first, second team, honorable mentions with those awards that were handed out earlier this week. And we'll talk some playoff football. And Munising, theoretically, they play today. If they win, they could have a home game again next week. We'll also talk to State Representative Beau LaFave, who covers the 108th district here in the state of Michigan. He's also making a run towards Secretary of State. So we'll talk to Mr. LaFave about that, and it's super important to have him on because I think it's important to have people on that have different views than I. You see, he's a Michigan State fan. He's a Green Bay Packer fan. Packers win last night in the desert. Great game between Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and the Packers and the Cardinals. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and we'll talk about why he's running for Secretary of State here in the state of Michigan. That's today on Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO, also on our Rome Media Facebook page, on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify. A couple of things I need to address really quickly. A lot of developing stories as we're coming up on air today. We'll start with this one as I'm opening up my email address here. First, because we are here in Elgin County and Marquette County. Effective immediately, retired Captain Jeff Green is ceasing his campaign for the 109th District Michigan House of Representatives seat. Green states that he appreciates the support of so many and is humbled by the response he has received, but for personal reasons, he is stepping aside. A refund of all donations will be forthcoming. So Jeff Green has taking his name out of the candidacy for the 109th, which is currently held by Democrat Sarah Cambenzi. So we'll keep an eye on that to see who else may or may not be running. But that is a media alert. Effective immediately, retired Captain Jeff Green, who's been on this show, is dropping his campaign for the 109th district here in the Upper Peninsula and the House of Representatives. Also, this just came in. Brownstone Inn is closing for the fall. They'll be closed on Monday, November 1st, and they'll reopen December 3rd. So they want to remind you to give thanks to those that are going to be having dinner with you Thanksgiving and coming up into the Christmas season. But they thank you for their business, for your business to their establishment as well. But Brownstone Inn is closing starting Monday and will be closed until December 3rd. Also closing after Saturday at 3 o'clock, Van Landshoots and Sons will be closed for the season. So you have today and until 3 o'clock tomorrow. So 5 o'clock today, 3 o'clock tomorrow to get some frozen fish, get some fish dip, some fish sausage, maybe get some salmon or some whitefish, whatever your heart may desire. But Van Landshoots will be closed Saturday at 3. Then you have Brownstone Inn closing on Monday until December 3rd. And Jeff Green suspending and dropping out of the campaign for the 109th here in the state of Michigan. Dean Halifax watching from Central Florida. Good morning. I've had a lot of people messaging me, and I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of them because they just keep coming. Today is the special day where everybody's timeline on their day fills up. It is my birthday, 39 years old. So a lot of people wishing me happy birthday. I don't have time to get through all of them, especially because we're not hooked up to my Facebook page as well, because right now I'm at like 64 people, and I will try to get to all of you. But thank you for all the birthday wishes. It's a Mustang Friday night here in Elgin County. People asked, hey, do you have plans? I said, yeah, Munising's playing at 7 o'clock tonight. I know where I'm going to be. It's going to be at Mustang Stadium. Jenna Mattson says, happy birthday from Kane and herself. David Seacott watching from Indiana says, go Mustangs. So it is a Friday night football game. That means that, we are busy. I don't think, and I want to get into this a little bit. I don't think I've ever had a normal birthday because my birthday always falls in and around the playoff game when it comes to high school sports. Now, last year was a little different just because of the COVID year and everything like that. But there's two things that I can guarantee on my birthday. There's going to be a playoff game, and I can't go to a restaurant or do the bar scene without people dressing up in their favorite costume. Now, I resented this for years. And then college came. And college was a great time when it came to Halloween and all the people dressing up. I had a great time in college. There's a reason why I spent 7 years in college. And it wasn't because I'm a doctor. It's because the greatness what comes with Halloween and dressing up for those occasions and Thanksgiving and Christmas. But yes, I didn't like Halloween for many years because I can't go and just have like a good time at a local establishment because it's always like the best dress or Halloween parties or things like that. And I was just like, I just want to go out and watch a game. Can't do that this time of year. Not on my birthday. It doesn't happen. But I do enjoy it now. And I do the whole family thing now. So I don't really worry about it. But yeah, it was, it was an interesting time growing up and going to establishments on your birthday. Jacob Mattson says, happy birthday. Hi, Jake. Hope all is well with you. Half day today for middle and high school and the elementary kids as well. So they'll get sugared up here in school and get sent home on their merry little way and have that sugar buzz for most of that day. Trick-or-treating hours 5 to 7 here in Munising. That will take place on Sunday. So make sure 5 to 7 downtown Munising. Go trick-or-treating with the little ones and go door to door and make sure they get all hopped up. And I mean, you might need to boost up their confidence and their spirits a little bit after the Lions-Philadelphia game because, Lions are 0-7 going into this weekend. So we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, it's going to be a great weekend, and we want to get that kick started coming up soon. Matt Mattson, the head football coach of your Munising Mustang football team, will be joining me live here in studio in about 4 minutes right here on Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. We'll also talk to State Representative of the 108th, Beau LaFave, who'll be joining us live in studio. You want to come down to Gallery Coffee Company? It is open to everyone. You can come see and talk to Beau LaFave after he gets off the air as well. But those two fine gentlemen will be joining me on the birthday edition of Coffee with Casey on AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. We'll take this quick timeout, come back, talk to head coach Matt Mattson of the Munising Mustangs right after this. You're watching and listening to Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO.
Algier County Communities That Care is a local organization that offers preventative programming addressing teen pregnancy, violence, delinquency, school dropout, substance abuse, depression, and suicide. We are looking for members in our community to help with many of these programs and fundraisers we offer. If you would like to get involved, please contact us at algerctc.org. Alger County United and Thriving, promoting a safe, healthy, and prosperous environment for all youth and adults.
Hutphin's Health Mart welcomes you. Your hometown pharmacy is always here for you. Customer service comes first in all we do. You're gonna find that we love serving you at Hutphin's Health Mart. Service is still our best medicine.
Hutphin Health Mart has been a trusted source to handle your prescriptions for over 80 years. They're always ready to help in a personal way with their experienced and well-trained pharmacy staff. Family-owned and operated. Just people serving people. 119 Elm Avenue in beautiful downtown Munising with convenient parking at the front or rear entrance.
At Hutphin's Health Mart, service is still our best medicine.
Fall is here, and that means temperatures are dropping. Is your propane tank ready for winter this year? Call Superior Land Gas because they've been trusted for over 100 years, and this is what they do. Superior Land Gas provides propane for appliances, from your outdoor grill to a 1,000-gallon commercial tank. They have the resources and training for heating your home or office. Call Superior Land Gas in Wetmore to switch or get filled up today at 387-4660.
Ashley Home Store's lowest prices of the season end soon. Time is running out to shop our lowest prices of the season on items throughout the store and online. Through Monday, shop beds up to 40% off and sofas starting as low as $299. Or buy today and pay 0% interest for 72 months with no minimum purchase. Hurry, sale ends Monday. Hurry in or visit ashleyhomestore.com to shop and save today. Ashley Home Store. This is home. Online availability may vary. Some exclusions apply. See store or ashleyhomestore.com for details.
Back on Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. Also on SoundCloud, Spotify, the Roam Media Facebook page, and on YouTube. Want to get a couple more birthday wishes. Amy Lasselis says, happy birthday, Casey. Sue, I'm going to Severton? Severs? I can't pronounce your last name. Matt probably knows who it is. Happy birthday, go Mustangs. It is a Munising Mustang Friday night, playoff Friday night, as Munising gets set for Rudyard a second time this season. It seems like we always get someone familiar first game of playoffs. I know Indian River Inland Lakes was a little bit different last year, but when you're in this conference, whether it's 8-man or 11-man, it seems like you get a familiar foe when you guys get to playoffs. What are the good things about that and the bad things about that? Because it's been a while since you've seen Rudyard.
Yeah, not many things are hidden anymore. There's enough film out there that everybody has a little feeling for each other. But, getting that experience of playing them live is a little different too. Then you get a little feel for people's strengths and those types of things. So, it's not the easiest thing, to be honest with you, but, there won't be any secrets.
I want to get to this because we know it's been such a weird season, and we've talked to you during the Prep Pigskin High School football. We've talked to you on Coffee with Casey. It's been such an odd year. You play Superior Central, and then you have a week off, and then you get to play Brimley. We didn't know if Brimley was going to be a go. How difficult has this season been preparing for each week for a game or not having a game?
Honestly, I think last year kind of trained us for this year. Last year, we didn't know if we were going to have a game from week to week or not. We actually got them all in this year. This year, we had issues with COVID. Other teams had more issues with COVID, so we missed some things. But, we just prep and prepare that we have a game, and when we find out we don't, we move on to the next team, and that's kind of how we've done it.
What's been the protocol for that? Because obviously, Wednesday night, Thursday in some cases, Superior Central one day against Brimley on a Friday. They were playing on a Saturday. We don't have a game. How tough is it to find another opponent that would be willing to play you and where you feel adequately prepared to play that opponent?
Yeah, and it is tough because not everybody has an open week in their schedule for sure. So it's tough just finding a game. And then you're right. If you find out on Wednesday, do you want to play somebody on Friday night without much prep time and those types of things? And for us down the stretch, we've had some injury issues. So the weeks off, we didn't welcome them. I'd rather play football games, but we were also banged up. So when they got canceled, it wasn't the end of the world for us either.
Got a lot of experience last week with playing Brimley. I know a lot of JV players played in that second half. I guess you always like, as a coach, getting those players in. But how did that help your football team? You talk about the injuries. Prepare you for this week, and does that give you like a little bit, are you fresher a little bit more because you got some rest last week?
Yeah, we have 8 JVs that came up. We offered to all the JVs. We had 8 come up, and there's some football players that probably would be varsity players on most teams. We were fortunate enough to stay away from bringing any sophomores up, but Reese Godey had a touchdown. Blake Walter played fantastic at inside linebacker. Joe Kelly fumble recovery on onside kick. So, we have some JV players that certainly will help us. They'll still be on the field tonight on a lot of special team situations. Last week, it was important that we made it to the playoffs healthy. So last week, the JVs pretty much played the whole second half, and it was very beneficial to us. We could rest our kids. We didn't need any more paramackies on the field and those types of things.
Matt Mattson, head football coach of the Munising Mustangs, joins us right here. Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO, as Munising gets set for a very important playoff game tonight against Rudyard. And last week I said it was a must-win for Munising because when it comes to playoff points, you need everything. And I know I text you because I was watching Pickford and Rudyard. Were you surprised with that outcome that Rudyard came away victorious. And I know you didn't see it unless you saw it later on, but how Pickford lost that football game. I mean, it was a great game from top to bottom. I mean, it was 7-6 Rudyard, then it was 14-6 Pickford, or 14-7 Pickford. Rudyard missed the extra point and the overtime went wide left. Were you surprised a little bit with that outcome?
I really wasn't surprised. If you look at our conference, Newberry and Pickford went to overtime. Pickford won that game. Pickford beat us by 4. We beat both Rudyard and Newberry. Flip a coin with the 4 teams that are in our region. For us, we needed a Rudyard win or not Noggin win to really help our seeding in the playoffs. So which we got. So we were cheering hard for Rudyard, and we did have people on the sidelines giving us updates. And that was Kane Nebel's job. He was home on the couch, and he was.
I saw him on the stream watching the same game I was watching.
That was his job. And then I left my phone in my backpack. We don't have it when I coach. So then Matthew Linquist, our other injured senior. Coach Kane's been texting you the whole time. I said, Matthew, you text him, get me an update. So the whole second half, we were pretty well updated with
scoreboard watching.
We were, and we also had somebody on the Ontonagon game that was in contact with Coach Cody
and with me.
So
I'm sure it's the same guy.
It was important to us, and obviously we had to take care of business on the field. But the Brindley game was in hand after about the first quarter, and so there was some scoreboard watching.
And I do want to talk about that because I'm getting updates, and they go, Casey, can you get some scores to Charlie so he can announce them on air? I said, yeah, absolutely. And it was like 38-7 Lake Linden over Ontonagon at that point. I was like, well, that one's pretty much over. Little did I know Ontonagon was going to make that a game in that second half. Because you don't see that a lot when you're up big. You don't really see a lot of comebacks where you are on the brink of winning that football game. And that actually happened last week with Ontonagon and Lakeland and Hubble. But I do want to talk about some of the players that you're going to face tonight and some of our players that are on the Munising Mustangs that got some awards. EJ Suggett's good. You saw them last year. He was first team. And then you get a guy from Rudyard, Cam Peterson, that makes second team. I guess talk about those guys. Cam Peterson's the running back for Rudyard, and then EJ Suggett, the quarterback for Rudyard. So talk about those players and what they possess for Rudyard.
Yeah, Suggett's been on the varsity for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's a 230-pound quarterback who throws the ball well, but also runs downhill very well. He's been injured a little bit this year. He's finally healthy in the last couple of weeks, and you see it on film. He's running the ball more. So he's a huge force. He was also voted first team defensive end. Peterson is a very nice back. Also plays linebacker for him, a sophomore. They're a very heavy senior, and then they have 2 fantastic sophomores in Peterson and Bickle. So Peterson will turn into the Suggett next year. I'm sure they'll snap him the ball and he'll throw it next year. But yeah, he's a very good football player.
Well, and then their wide receiver. You talk about Bickle. I mean, you have the big 3 when it comes to them because they can run the ball, they can pass the ball. Quarterback draws with Suggett. I mean, I know last year it was a battle, and this year it was a battle. I don't know if Suggett was injured a little bit when you guys played him the first time.
He was injured. He had a sprained MCL, I believe, is what his injury was. So
a tough kid.
So the middle of the season, you didn't see them running with him a lot. So he was throwing the ball a little bit more and using Peterson and Bickle, and those are their 3 main players, but they have some nice linemen too. So it'll be a huge challenge for us.
Of course, my computer wants to do like an update real quick. Sean McAuliffe says, what are some of the things you do to keep it light in the locker room before a big game or as you enter the playoffs to keep players focused?
Well, Sean, normally I tell him about one day when I was playing football in my parents' yard and I tackled a kid on the cement and he came up with a broken arm. I think that kid's name was Sean McAuliffe. I'm not sure if that was him or not, but if you hang around me long enough, I'm pretty quick-witted and pretty fast with a joke. So we do keep it pretty loose and sometimes maybe too loose. Coach Cody does a nice job of reining me in and keeping things on task along with Coach Paramaki, Coach Elor. But I think you could ask most of the players that have played for me in any sport that we go hard, we play hard, but we normally have a pretty good time too.
No slouch for your team. Obviously, we talked about Rudyard and their big 3. Billy Chris wins some defensive awards for your team. He is your quarterback for the Munising Mustangs. Josiah Paramaki, running back. Jesse Duran, senior, wide receiver. Talk about those guys and how they've gotten better throughout the year.
Yeah, the all-conference voting, has happened this week. We had 5 kids on the first team, 3 on the second team, and then honorable mention selection also. So, I thought we did very well and we're well represented in the conference voting. And we do have some very talented kids. And the nice thing is most of those kids will be back next year.
Run it behind Weimer.
Right. And, and it's tough because, Suggett was the quarterback that was first team. I honestly felt like we had two all-conference quarterbacks, to be honest with you. One's injured, obviously, in Kane Nebel, and Billy Crisp has completed about 70% of his passes. He throws for a touchdown every game, and we don't throw the ball a ton, so he's done a fantastic job there. He did receive some defensive honors. I thought we had a pretty good defensive back play. Billy led us there. We've kind of held him back a little bit the last couple of weeks just because we can't have Billy pick up an injury right now either.
Now, Reagan Bowerman, I see a smile on this kid's face all the time. It seems like he's a ball hawk defensively. He makes second team as a junior. Jacob Mattson, your son, also gets named to first team when it comes to linebackers. Your defense has been solid all year long. I guess what has made that unit just go, and what makes them gel?
Yeah, we have fantastic team speed on the defensive side of the ball. We really could create a couple sprint relay teams and compete very well on the track. We've tackled pretty well this year. We came with a couple different concepts this year too. We played a little more zone than man, and that's helped us on run support just because you're not getting run off on man-to-man covers and those types of things. Reagan Bowerman, he's probably the biggest surprise that I've had this year. He is a football player, makes plays sideline to sideline, does his job. I really think he should have been a first team type player. He's been
really good.
He's been really good. He's one of our defensive leaders for sure. But the voting, you never know how it goes at times either. And good thing for him, he's a junior. But Reagan's had a great year.
Let's talk about that a little bit as Matt Mattson joins us right here. Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO, also on the Rome Media Facebook page and our YouTube stream. When it comes to voting, you don't get to face everybody, or you didn't get to face everybody this year. So how does voting go when you don't get to play an Engadine, or you don't get to play a couple of teams? I mean, do they see them on film? Do they vote that way? Do they just go, oh, well, we played Pickford, we're just going to vote for them? How does that work?
Yeah, because we didn't play everybody, it is a little bit off film study because you do have film on pretty much every team, but each coach gets to speak a little bit about their players. You don't get to vote for your own players, obviously, but then it just, goes around the room a little bit and you get to speak about players and you listen to the coaches. And, even if we didn't play somebody, if a coach says this kid is my best offensive lineman, you're certainly going to take that into consideration when you're placing your votes.
Matt Mattson joined us right here, Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO from the Jamadot Studios inside Gallery Coffee Company. They are open Tuesday through Saturday from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. So come down to Gallery Coffee Company as we do the show live every single Friday. So have a half day of school. You know that the kids are going to be getting candy. They're going to do everything what they're doing at the high school, what they're doing at the middle school. Is it an advantage having that half day? Do you rather have a full day? I guess talk about the preparation of that, because it's not their normal routine. And I know every athlete is a creature of habit. They like, going to, 3:00 film or spaghetti dinner at this time. Is it advantage, disadvantage having the half day on a playoff day?
Yeah, normally you'd rather keep the routine, but you need to be ready to play football at 7:00. So if at noontime, if you need to go home, take your nap, take a nap. If you need to eat your candy, but at 7:00, better be ready to play football. So obviously, like I said, you'd rather have a normal routine, but I think the kids will be ready.
Now, this is rivalry week, and you guys have a really good matchup with Rudyard. You know what they like to do. They've seen what you like to do. Are we expecting like a 21-14 game like they had last week? Are we expecting more of a shootout like 30-28? What do you think? And obviously I'm not saying, hey, are Munising going to win or not? Because that's a stupid question. But how do you see this game playing out with the talent they have versus the talent we have?
Yeah, I don't really see a shootout. I think they've gone back to running the football a little bit more just because Suggett's healthy. We obviously want to run the football and control the clock. The shootouts kind of come when you have a lot of incomplete passes, the clock stops, you might have some longer scoring plays, those types of things. So I think it's because it's Munising and Rudyard, it probably won't be a shootout. It'll probably be a hard-nosed football game.
And it should be a fast game because I know, as you just mentioned, both teams like to run the ball. Talk about the Paramackies a little bit because they've been instrumental to your football team. Those are some fast kids.
Yeah.
Talk about the Paramackies and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, you won't find better physical specimens than the Paramackies. They're both around 200-pound mark. They both would be on any sprint relay team in the UP. They can jump. They can pretty much do all of it. They're smart kids, very competitive. They bring just about everything to the table for us. They could be a little more vocal, to be honest with you. I think they have that twin thing where they communicate with each other, but nobody else at times.
Well, and sometimes they don't have to talk and they know what's going on. It's a twin thing.
That's true. And they've Micaiah, we had him at tight end to start with Jacob's injury. We moved Micaiah the fullback and Josiah at tailback. And Josiah is still learning, when to cut, when not to cut at tailback and those types of things. But they're fun to be around. They're fantastic athletes, and we wouldn't be where we are without them.
All right. Now, we always talk about multi-sport athletes. You had a number of guys that were running cross country this year. Obviously, we know about the girls cross country team and taking home some hardware. How does that affect you as the football coach when they're off running cross country and playing football at the same time?
Yeah, it really doesn't affect us too much. They get their workouts in.
Yes, they do.
And I that's a tough turnaround. If I remember the Keltos boy, Andrew, you play a Friday night football game and you're turning around and running the 5K in Escanaba the next morning. So
I also think of like Trevor Nolan, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. And, Trevor's a gym rat. He's always doing something. He works hard in the weight room. He's going to be successful with whatever he does. He'll end up playing quarterback for us someday and do a nice job for us. And he'll still go out and win the cross-country championship. So Trevor, I have no concerns about. He works his tail off, works hard. He's out running intervals after practices and those types of things. So you do have some of those kids that it's just there, and he's going to work hard. And it is a tough dual sport when it's cross country and football because it's just so demanding.
Coach, I appreciate your time as always right here on Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. Charlie and Cameron Nebel will be on the call tonight. They'll be on air about 6:55-ish with kickoff set about 7:01, 7:02 after everything gets all said and done when it comes to the pregame and the warm-ups and the national anthem and all that good stuff. So, Coach, good luck to you and your football team tonight. And hopefully we're talking soon about a Munising win. And going on next week.
I would like to come back next Friday. Yes,
that would be
absolutely.
Nice. Head coach Matt Mattson joins us right here on Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. And I'd like to take this time, if you are coming down to Gallery Coffee Company sometime this weekend, whether it's today before 2 o'clock or it's Saturday between 8 and 2 p.m., we are doing the TV6 Canathon. We are the drop-off site here at Gallery Coffee Company. Come bring some perishable or non-perishable goods here to Gallery Coffee Company. I noticed a few more things up here. We had some Spam up here this week. I talked about the corned beef hash last week. There's some cranberries, the cranberry sauce, one of my favorites when it comes to Thanksgiving, by the way. There's some cans of tuna, things like that. Please bring down your non-perishable food item to Gallery Coffee Company between the hours of 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday here at Gallery. We're going to take this time out. When we come back, we are going to have Representative Beau LaFave, who is part of the 108th State Representative down in Delta County, also running for the Secretary of State. You are watching and listening to Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO.
There'll be a couple of vaccination clinics held over the next couple of days. The first clinic will be held on Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1:30 at the LMAS Alger County office on Prospect Street in Wetmore. That will be a COVID and flu shots vaccination clinic. There will be a limited number of flu shots at this event. The second vaccination clinic will be a COVID vaccination clinic in Grand Marais on Wednesday from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Visit the LMAS Facebook page for more information on either clinic.
Tracy's Restaurant is reimagined for the season. Come experience some Japanese flair, ramen bowls for $15, corned beef egg rolls for $4.50, handcrafted sushi, and hot sake. Plus, a pound of chicken wings with chef-crafted sauces for just $10. Don't worry, our staples are still there. The cheese curds, the Brussels sprouts, and that steak you love. Call 387-8000 for reservations. Tracy's at Rome Inn in Munising.
Need breakfast in a pinch? A sweet treat to help you continue through the day? What about a technically correct way to tell others you're eating your vegetables? Whatever your reason, Gallery Coffee's new selection of pastries are now available. Enjoy muffins, eclairs, fritters, and even zucchini bread, all pairing well with your favorite hot coffee or iced drink. Check out your new selection of pastries now at Gallery Coffee Company, located on the corner of Elm and Superior in downtown Munising.
Hey, did you get the new chicken Uber pasty from Miner's Pasties yet?
No, I didn't. Does it have the taters?
Yep,
Does it have the rutabaga?
of course.
Does it have the onions and the carrots?
Yep, those two. It's a true Uber pasty from Miner's with all the right fillings and that perfect flaky crust.
That sounds great. How do I get one?
The same as always down at Miner's Pasties, open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 201 West Munising Avenue in Munising.
This is the Ashley Home Store in Marquette and Escanaba Munising Minute, powered by Rome Media. Professional hockey player Kyle Beach announced in an interview with TSN that he is the John Doe from the Chicago Blackhawks sexual assault lawsuit released earlier this week. Beach sued the team to prove that his account of being assaulted by the Chicago Blackhawks video coach in 2010 was true. The 107-page report confirmed those claims and was released on Tuesday. Beach's assaulter was Brad Aldrich, an Upper Peninsula native. Aldrich brought the Stanley Cup to Houghton after Chicago won the NHL championship that year and worked with Houghton High School until he pled guilty to criminal sexual conduct fourth degree in 2013. The fallout from the report has been rapid, with multiple members of the Blackhawks front office resigning or quitting, as well as Florida Panthers coach John Quenneville, who was with Chicago at the time of the assault. The Army Corps of Engineers expects more low lake levels for Lake Superior in the upcoming months. The most recent forecast says that the lake will continue to drop an inch or two, which equates to millions of gallons of fresh water as part of its seasonal winter cycle. Water temperatures are also dropping as evaporation increases due to the colder air traveling over the warmer water. The Munising Minute is brought to you by Ashley Home Store in Marquette and Escanaba, where the lowest prices of the season sale ends Monday. Bedrooms and dining rooms are up to 40% off. Plus, we have over 200 mattresses in stock and experienced interior design experts to help you. Local, family-owned Ashley Home Store in Marquette and Escanaba. For Rome Media, I'm Bryce Burge.
Ashley Home Store's lowest prices of the season end soon. Time is running out to shop our lowest prices of the season on items throughout the store and online. Through Monday, shop beds up to 40% off and sofas starting as low as $299. Or buy today and pay 0% interest for 72 months with no minimum purchase. Hurry, sale ends Monday. Hurry in or visit AshleyHomestore.com to shop and save today. Ashley Home Store. This is home. Online availability may vary. Some exclusions apply. See store or AshleyHomestore.com for details.
Back on Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO from the Jamadot Studios inside Gallery Coffee Company. I want to get to a couple more birthday wishes. Thank you, Tricia Valaket, for the birthday wishes. Also, Jenna Cole says, "You're old." That comes from her husband, Josh, but they do say happy birthday. I have not hit 40 yet, so I don't feel all that old, but believe me, there are days where I wake up and there's a lot more aches and pains. My next guest, I'm super excited to have on, and it's State Representative Beau LaFave, who represents the 108th. And I talked to him for the first time for about 10 minutes the other day, and I knew we were going to get along right away. First and foremost, thank you for driving from Lansing to be on our show. Did you see any deer as you're coming up across the bridge and coming into the Upper Peninsula?
Yeah, so plenty of deer dead on the side of the road.
None hit your car, I hope.
No, we dodge those things.
Okay.
But last night I drove up from Lansing. I was able to spend a couple hours in Iron Mountain at my home, watch the Packer game. Goodness gracious, was that insane?
I talked about that opening segment, and it seems like there's one game I want to say, just one, that I remember Green Bay going down to Arizona, where it wasn't a competitive game because Arizona just blew the socks off them. But normally it's a great game between those two teams.
Well, and the quarterback for Arizona is incredibly impressive.
Kyler Murray.
He is just a talented young man.
And he was super good in Oklahoma too.
Yeah, and I was so worried for him. I mean, obviously there's 12 seconds on the clock. I wanted the Packers to win. But to see him get up and walk more like I do than he usually does was concerning to me. I'm like, kick the field goal, go into overtime. Don't worry, worry about your quarterback.
Right.
This game doesn't matter that much. And then he throws the interception. I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, I don't know what happened on that final play. I mean, how do you not look for the football in that situation?
Things happen, especially when you're rushed. There's no time, and
but it's the end of the game.
Yeah, you would think.
And I'm a Lions fan, so I'm used to heartbreak.
Sure.
And I said this on Facebook, and I said it in the opening segment. It's important to have people that disagree with you on certain things. Beau is a Michigan State fan.
That is right.
He is a Packer fan. I'm a Michigan fan. I'm a Lions fan. And yes, there are still people that still admit that, but I'm a Lions fan. I don't get heartbroken anymore because it happened so many times. And when you have one playoff win since the Super Bowl era, and that happened to me in 1991, and I remember that game vividly when they beat the Cowboys, and I still blame this on Pat Summerall, where Pat Summerall says, you're looking at two teams of the 90s. No, that didn't happen. The Cowboys were. Lions, not so much. Green Bay did pretty well late 90s, though.
Oh, absolutely.
They won something called the Super Bowl and Lombardi Trophy with some guy named Favre.
Yeah, that was. I'm not
Went
sure.
to another Super Bowl, lost to John Elway.
I think he had a number 4 on his jersey.
Yeah.
I don't have any jerseys in my closet of his at all.
Yeah, well,
Definitely.
were you part of the Who's Brent crowd? When Favre left, there was a bunch of like Brent Who shirts.
No, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I have one Vikings jersey
Okay.
in my closet, and it is not because I'm a massive Vikings supporter, big Vikings fan.
I'm a big Brett Favre fan.
Brett Favre jersey.
Yeah, I didn't have a Jets one, but I would.
I didn't either.
Okay, well, he wasn't there long enough.
No, he certainly wasn't.
Beau LaFave joins
Some
us
would
right
say
here.
he was there for too long.
Well, if you want to get technical, I think they started 6-0 that year and finished 8-8, but he also had like a torn rotator cuff that he was playing through.
Well, and I think they started like the year before that, they were like 0-16 or something. Not 0-16 and not the Lions, but you know what I mean.
And that's all the time we have for Beau LaFave this
Thank you for having me today.
Beau LaFave joins us, Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. I know when you're in the House of Representatives, whether it's you, Sarah Convinzi, Ed McBroom, you guys like coming back to the area. Talk about how much time you spend in the car coming back to the Upper Peninsula, doing town hall meetings, meeting with the people. And you're going to be doing something relatively new. You're going to be promoting all the Upper Peninsula because you're going to be running for Secretary of State. We'll get into that in a minute, but how much time do you spend in your car going back and forth from Lansing to this area?
So I guess I'm blessed to have been able to afford a 2018 Jeep Cherokee. And now I think when I pulled in, it just hit 180,000 miles on it.
Okay.
So we're doing 1,000 miles a week. And that was with the COVID pandemic that obviously limited my ability to get around and to drive to places and do the things that I need to do. A lot more virtual for that time period. But 1,000 miles a week is about what I average. So it's 7 hours one way to Lansing. That's twice a week. Usually I wake up on Monday morning in Iron Mountain, have a meeting in Iron Mountain. If I have something I can do, almost always a meeting in Escanaba on my way through, or Gladstone or Rapid River. Today, there was the Menominee Delta Hannahville Indian Community Joint Task Force. And I don't always get to make that. And I just happened to be driving by on my way up here at exactly the minute it started. I'm like, I can't not stop in. And so I stopped in and I talked to the leaders of the 3 communities and said, what do you need? What can I help with? And it was the stuff that I mostly had been working on already. This, it's nothing new yet. But I'm like, yep, you got it. And so then on my way here, I called the chairman of the Appropriations Committee's chief of staff. And I said, hey, remember, I need those emergency signs in Delta County. I still need that. It's been a couple of years. Why didn't we get it done? And, give him a hard time. Phil does a great job, but reminded him that things need to be done on appropriations in my House district. And it's difficult because none of the Upers serve on appropriations. So I'm a policy guy. And so when my community leaders tell me that they need money, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't have a seat on the appropriations committees, but people owe me favors.
This is a legitimate question. How do you deal with cell phone reception? Because I know it lacks here in the Upper Peninsula. You're on a very important phone call, and I've been on 35. Parts of 35 just doesn't have any.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to get things done, or you're on a phone call or a Zoom meeting or whatever you're doing to help connect with your community, how do you handle the cell phone situation in our area where there's a lot of dead zones?
Yeah. Well, number one, I don't schedule phone calls that can't be interrupted until I get to, I've got an hour and a half that I can do from Iron Mountain to past Rapid River to about the 65.
Right.
until you get the Hiawatha. And so that's almost an hour and a half of uninterrupted or limitedly interrupted phone calls. I also have a very expensive signal booster that I bought with my first paycheck in the house. So I usually, if anybody's driving by, my phone might actually be sitting on top of my head as I'm driving, because that's where the signal booster is above my left shoulder. And I don't want to sit there with my, and dangerously hold it up there. So I'm balancing it on my head like a book.
Beau LaFave joins us right here. Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. I really wanted to have you on to talk about the Secretary of State, because I have issues with the Secretary of State. I know you have issues with the Secretary of State. I bought a pop-up camper. This was back in late June. I still have the title in my truck because I live here in Munising. And I also have kids that I go pick up and things like that. And there's only a select amount of times that you can actually get on the Secretary of State website in our area and actually schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
I still have the other guys as the title holder on there because I can't get to the Secretary of State. You are now running for Secretary of State. What are some of the things you would do to change that, to get to in person, or at least have some kind of, I guess,
workable
balance? Yes, a workable schedule for someone like me who can't get to our local Munising Secretary of State. Last time I went to Secretary of State, I had to drive to Manistee and get things registered. And it just happened to be they had one appointment late in the day, and I got on at the right time. And they're just like, yep, you filled it. Thank you. But how do we amend this?
Number one, and this is my campaign slogan, is open the offices. Open the offices to walk-ins, individuals off of the street. They've got a half hour in between their two shifts for many people on their lunch break. Think about our law enforcement or our frontline healthcare workers that have a 12-hour shift. They don't know when they're going to be able to get out of there because they don't know if they've got to book somebody into the jail. They can't just schedule an appointment. A house fire might happen and they've got to go. They're on call. Somebody might have a cardiac arrest and the doctor's got to go to work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't save this, sir. I need to go to my appointment at the Secretary of State and renew my license so I can come to work tomorrow. This is unworkable for a majority of citizens. And
I know I'm going to pay a fine because I'm late, but it's not my fault because when I'm on there are no appointments here in Munising.
And it's incredibly infuriating for individuals who are a month early for their renewal and try to get an appointment, but they're busy. They've got kids, they've got work, they've got family obligations. And then they finally get in on the secretary says, well, if you just go on at exactly 8 a.m.
I can't do that.
And you'll have an appointment. It's like, well, first of all, is that Central or Eastern? I don't think she knows there's a Central time zone in Michigan, but probably because she's never been up here. But that is not workable for people. And you need to just allow people to come in. And I will be the first to admit, we used to have 30-minute wait times. Before Jocelyn Benson was elected, we had 30-minute wait times. And you might spend more. That was an average. Sometimes, you'd book an hour, and if you were out in less than that, you'd be happy. That's kind of how we just handle it. I always go in on my birthday. Jocelyn Benson, actually, I will give her credit. She did take that 30-minute wait time, brought it down to 15 minutes. It's 5 months and 15 minutes, but 15 nonetheless. That's not acceptable.
It's not. And it's frustrating because, like I said, I have little kids. They get to school. I have one that's at the elementary school here, one at the high school, one that's in daycare, and one that's at preschool. So I have different start times all the time. I'm not in front of a computer. I can't be because when I go pick up my one from preschool, that happens to be at noon. I can't be on a computer while I'm picking up my child from school.
Well, first of all, thank you. We need more babies in the Upper Peninsula. We need to replace our aging population with some new kids, and that is just wonderful. So thank you for that.
And it was a tough job.
And our parents in the Upper Peninsula have their work cut out for them.
Yes.
And I thank everybody that is engaging in this replacement that is necessary because I'm going to get old and die. I hope it's a long time from now, but I want to leave an Upper Peninsula to the next generation. We need that generation to do that, to forward on our UP values, our UP traditions, our time-honored history of hunting and welcoming the Wisconsin. and Illinois and Lower Michigan folks to come up here for tourism season and show them a good time, show off the pretty colors, and then send
Absolutely.
them back home. I mean, welcome them back next year.
Beau LaFave joins us right here. Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. Also on the Rome Media Facebook page, on our YouTube live page, also on SoundCloud and Spotify for after the show. And this does air on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. as well. Let's talk about the Upper Peninsula a little bit, because you're a hunter, you're a fisherman. You talked about, hey, you want to leave this great place to our younger generation, take care of that. We had the deer season coming up. I know numbers last year were on the rise because I think more people got back in touch with nature when everything was stripped away from us.
Well, when you told them you couldn't go to work, they're like, well, I guess I can go hunting.
Right. You know, you can't go golfing. You can't be in a golf cart, but you know, you could go buy a side-by-side and be in the woods.
Well, you couldn't buy a side-by-side. There weren't any available. But yes, I agree with the sentiment.
You're absolutely right on that. But talk about hunting. I guess we talked about early on, like you saw deer on the side of the road, things like that.
Yeah. Which is not atypical.
No, it's not by any stretch of the imagination. But I guess I feel that's like, it's one of those things that was a lost art that's coming back. How important is it for father, son, daughter, mom, son, mom, daughter to be out there in the woods and providing for their family and doing the game hunting or the fishing in your parts and being part of nature in the Upper Peninsula?
Couple things on that. Number one is our hunting population is aging. And, you know, when you get to be 75, 80, it's very more difficult to get in the woods, especially when the DNR unilaterally bans baiting. Very more difficult to get a deer if you don't live on a cornfield, if you can't put down an apple. So that is making it more difficult to get the harvest numbers that we need. We need to get more individuals encouraged and into the sport. We are currently discriminating against people with disabilities, upper limb disabilities. And so if you can't shoot a crossbow or a bow and arrow, you're limited to 19 days of hunting a year.
Open rifle season.
Open rifle plus 2 liberty hunts. Yep. 1 independence, 1 liberty. If you have 2 good arms, you've got 3.5 months of hunting. And so that is blatant discrimination. And so I've got bills that would allow people with disabilities to use what's called an air bow to shoot a bow and arrow, to shoot an arrow using compressed air during bow season. The governor vetoed that. And it's incredibly upsetting because we need the numbers to take the number of deer we need to take, because otherwise there will be more deer car accidents and lead to more deaths of humans. And the white-tailed deer is the biggest killer of humans, of wild animals on this planet.
And I know the deer population's up because we had such a mild winter last year, but I do know that the deer population is up. I want to backtrack real quick. Jenna Cole says, open up the Secretary of State offices with a bunch of exclamation points. So she's on our page as well. I do have to get to this as well because, you know, they are a big supporter of our show. The lowest prices of the season sale ends on Monday at Ashley Furniture Home Store in Marquette and Escanaba. Bedroom and dining rooms are up to 40% off. Plus, they have over 200 mattresses in stock and experienced interior designer experts to help you. Local family-owned Ashley Home Store in Marquette and Escanaba. As Beau LaFave joins us right here, Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO. One of the things I thought was very interesting, and I'll bring it up because I didn't know this, but it was the resolution of H.R. 177.
Oh, it's a great resolution.
Yes, it absolutely is. That would prohibit funding for the Taliban. All the Republicans were for it.
Absolutely. So we had the disastrous pullout of Afghanistan.
Yes.
Whether you thought we should be there still or not, the question is, how do we leave if we are going to? That was not how you do it. You don't abandon Bagram Air Force Base. You get the civilians out before you take out the men and women with guns. That's just how you do that. I have a degree in international relations and political economy from MSU, and I just was so sad to see that. I mean, I actually cried when I saw the disaster that unfolded and the loss of those 13. And the treatment of women and minorities by the Taliban is disgusting and abhorrent in words. I can't describe how awful it is. And now I see a current administration who has funded terrorism before in Iran with pallets of cash, totalitarian dictators being bought off by Vice President Joe Biden at the time. And I said, you know what? If we're going to abandon it to the Taliban, then we abandon it to the Taliban. You don't just prop up a dictatorous, evil regime with foreign aid. And so I chair the Homeland Security Committee, did the resolution, and I got every Republican to support it, and I got half of the Democrats.
That's the concerning part.
Yes,
half.
it is.
So
2 out of the 4 voted against not funding the Taliban.
did they give reasons why?
Oh, goodness, no. It's not defensible.
Okay.
One of my Democrat colleagues said they played right into your one good hand. And I said, that is not wrong at all. That's exact. I mean, it was a trap in the sense that you should not vote that way. Like, that's just why. Please explain it. And it's an unexplainable position. I mean, they throw some of these evil regimes throw members of the LGBTQ plus community off of buildings. They throw acid in the face of women wanting to go to school. They just the Taliban just cut off the head of the lead women's volleyball.
All
player.
this is factual, by the way. Everything,
this is
yes.
an evil regime, and we didn't fund the Soviet Union because it was an evil regime. We did not fund Nazi Germany. It is an evil regime. There's a lot of bad regimes in the 1900s, as it turns out.
Yes.
We don't fund them.
Right.
Don't fund the Taliban. But half of the Democrats on the Committee on Military Veterans and Homeland Security apparently want to fund the Taliban.
I do want to get into this just because you do wear a few different hats as you are part of the House of Representatives and running for the Secretary of State. What else would you like to change about the Secretary of State?
Oh, goodness. There's so many things. One, the offices are a disaster. They need to be taken care of.
We talked about that.
And just simple things like the website, for example. It is unnavigable. I've been a state representative for 5 years. I've got to fill out these campaign finance reports quarterly and then some updated ones depending on situations. The software for uploading campaign finance and viewing campaign finance reports, I believe, was written in the 80s. It is unworkable. You go on her website and you try to find out some information like, hey, who's my state representative? And you go and they're like, oh, click this link. You can go to the House. The House will tell you. It's like, couldn't I just put in my address on the Secretary of State's website and they'd be like, okay, your president is this. Here's your 2 senators. This is your congressman, your state rep, your city council, all that stuff. Why isn't that on the website? Well, because that would take work and effort. And nobody has thought about these things that would meaningfully help people. Think about trying to find out who's funding your political candidate or your favorite political candidate's opposition candidate. You can't easily find that. I've been looking. I need to look up campaign finance stuff all the time, find out how much money my opponent has on hand. What did they spend their money on? Am I have to be worried about this?
All public record stuff.
All public records should be. I still don't know how to go onto the SOS's website and like navigate to that. All I know is that if I go on Google and I type in SOS candidate committee search, it's the 3rd link down. So I just Google it because I don't know how to find it on her site. Nobody does because it's terribly drafted. Now, that's not a sexy issue that gets anybody out of the bed in the morning, but that background stuff, the website's a fiasco, a disaster. And I will say signature verification processes in the SOS are also important. We are a voter-initiated law state. If the voters want to make a law and hand it to the legislature to implement and to put into law, they got to get 300-some thousand signatures. They go to the SOS for verification to make sure that those are the people they say they are. Goes to the legislature and it avoids a governor's veto or signature. It's not for them to deal with. The voters did that law. Jocelyn Benson sat on Unlock Michigan 1.0 for months and months and months and months on end, intentionally to disenfranchise the voters that signed that petition. It finally went up to the Michigan Supreme Court, and the Michigan Supreme Court said, no, you need to act, and you need to act immediately, accept or reject. Then they appealed again and said, dear Michigan Supreme Court, I know you just told us to do this, but would you reconsider? And they said, yes, we will. We thought about it. Do your job. Then we put a bill on Governor Whitmer's desk that said, when they get all the signatures, they've got 90 days to review it and either say, listen, this doesn't look like it's got it, or, oh yeah, they're over their number. It's good to go. We recommend certification. The governor vetoed that legislation. I promise when you elect me Secretary of State next November, my office will be able to make a determination within 90 days and much quicker than that. If the requisite number of signatures is there clearly, probably is there, or obviously isn't. And then we can move from there. The Board of Canvassers makes the ultimate decision. But the Secretary of State needs to do their job in a efficient manner and not, approve marijuana petition signatures with no checking, no, very quickly, no problem. They definitely got it. But then you get a right to life issue, or you get a abuse of power petition, like unlike Michigan, and you sit on it for months because you don't like what the petition signers do. That's not what this job is. The law needs to be executed and done fairly. And if the Democrats have a petition, I will get it done just as quick as the Republicans, because that is a law enforcement issue. And as an executive, you need to execute.
Well, we could sit here and talk for probably another hour or so. I appreciate you coming up here and joining us on Coffee with Casey from the Gallery Coffee Company inside Jamadot Studios. I thoroughly enjoy what you guys do down there in Lansing. And like I said, I'm on both. I talk to people on both sides of the aisle, and I appreciate it too. Yes, and I appreciate you coming on and talking to us right here on Coffee with Casey. We're going to wrap this up in just a second, but real quick, is it 24-20 tomorrow, 27-24 when it comes to Michigan State?
I think it's probably going to be 35-7. I think Michigan
in favor of
State's
Michigan.
Yep.
That. Bo just said go blue. He just said that out of his mouth. He said go blue. Michigan will win tomorrow in East Lansing. That's correct, right from Beau LaFave's mouth.
Casey, thank you for giving me an excuse to come up to beautiful Munising.
Thank you so
love
much.
every time I get up here, and I don't get up here enough.
We're going to take this quick time out. When we come back, I do have something I need to talk about. It's half off at Aber. I'll tell you when. You're watching and listening to Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO.
Wondering where you can find gently used name brand clothing? Stop by Community Threads in downtown Munising. Choose from brands like Nike, North Face, Express, Patagonia, and more for $15 or less. Brought to you by the Rome Community Foundation, a 501c nonprofit serving the community through arts, culture, music, and adventure. And remember, it doesn't have to be new to be awesome.
Community Threads, now open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 4.
When it's time for you to tackle a home project, you go to 41 Lumber, because 41 Lumber has the best products, so your projects will last. Every kind of home project, you name it, 41 Lumber has it. And 41 Lumber has the experience to help you with any questions you have along the way. 41 Lumber even offers complete home and project design services. Your projects start at 41 Lumber, with better products for better results. 41 Lumber, building your dreams one project at a time.
Hunting season is upon us, so stock up at your local party store before heading to camp. Both Hillside West and Hillside East carry hunting bait, a large variety of snacks, and ice-cold beer caves with all the bush light you'll need this hunting season. From now until opening day, you can register for our Rapid River Knife Works fall giveaway at either location. Head over to Hillside West or Hillside East and enjoy our seasonal sales and great savings, and get yourself registered to win a custom handcrafted knife from Rapid River Knife Works while you're there.
As things slowly get back to normal in the Upper Peninsula, the employees at Embers Credit Union are here, ready to serve you. Our frontline staff is ready to safely handle cash and checks and answer questions you have about your account. Our loan team is ready to help out with new or existing loans in person, on the phone, or through email. Our commercial team is ready to assist you with your business loan and the Payment Protection Program. We are always ready to take members to the next level. We're Embers Credit Union. Let's live it up.
Picture this, coming home after a long day of work to a professionally laid, personalized tile shower with rainfall shower heads. Does this sound like something you could get used to? Flynn's Flooring in Wetmore carries much more than the beautiful flooring you've come to expect from this family-owned and operated company. A full-service company that specializes in ceramic tile as well as other floor coverings. The team at Flynn's Flooring is waiting for you to stop in to their showroom in Wetmore or call 906-387-1993.
Back here, Coffee with Casey from from Gallery Coffee Company and the Jamadot Studios to finish things off on this Friday. I'd like to thank Beau LaFave for making the drive up here and joining us this morning and talking about issues in and around the state of Michigan. Also, the Mustangs getting to the playoffs tonight. And with that, half off a burger between the hours of 3 and 7 o'clock with student ID or ticket. You can get half off a burger at a burger between 3 and 7 o'clock tonight. You must present a student ID, a valid student ID, or a ticket. Oh, it's, and my beautiful wife. This looks like a king ding. Thank you. I'm told it. No, we don't need the RE1 stuff because I'm just way too old for that. But thank you guys for the birthday treat, as I'll eat that as soon as we get off air. But half off a burger between 3 and 7 o'clock tonight with a valid student ID or ticket as you go to the Munising Mustang game. Michigan State, noon. Big game on Fox Saturday. I say go blue. I just hope for a really good game as long as Michigan wins. For Bryce Burge, I'm Casey Ford. You've been listening and watching to Coffee with Casey, AM 1400, 97.7 WQXO Munising.